For example, when I was in Wales, a coach was using an app called Dartfish,
Okay.
wherein there's no fees as such. You could just do some tagging
Okay.
using that app,
Okay.
clipping the videos,
Okay.
or making some notations on the screen. How many forward pass he made that player? You tick, 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 tick. You
Oh,
get
wow.
while watching the game. You use the app. You get all the data. You get Excel sheet. It
Oh,
shows how
wow.
many forward pass, because you're just watching the game and you're doing your own.
Talking from a coach's perspective, Jayaraj,
Yeah.
tell me, what does a match week look like? Let's say you have a competitive match for, let's say, the youth league. Like,
Yeah.
how does the preparation over the week look like for you?
Okay, so before the hitting the tournament, all the teams in general would have a 5 week, 6 week, 8 week. Preseason usually it's 6 week.
Okay.
If you
And
take
this is even at the youth level.
Yeah,
Okay.
even at the youth level now, because of again getting exposure to what the world's best practices are. People taking those references and doing a 6 week preseason. Wherein you work on different topics. At what stage, if you're coaching a team which is of 16 plus, there's a strength workout, power workouts, and those
Okay.
things gets added. 16 and above
Okay.
within the preseason. Then you work on endurance training for a couple of weeks, and then intensive endurance. Those kind of things. It start adding up.
Okay.
So once you prepare your team for a 6 week cycle, then you looking at if I want to give a typical week, we usually train from Monday till Friday, and then we have a game at Saturday.
Yeah.
This
And
is
this is light training?
No, for example, on a Monday it will be light training. Tuesday or Wednesday, some teams do 2 light trainings on Monday and Tuesday, and then they have a intense like conditioning training on Wednesday, and then they have a light training for 2 days. Then they have a game.
And by light training and, let's say, intense training, what difference? What do we do in a light training and what do we do in an intense
Okay,
training?
the intensity in which the players run
Okay.
on conditioning day is very high.
Okay.
Less rest, more work.
Okay.
So in other days, if you have a tactical session where you only focusing on movements and players are moving, yes, you will play a game in the end.
Yeah.
But it's not too much about a time limit. It's more about you teaching which player to move where.
The tactical part of
There's a
the
lot
game.
of stoppages basically on a conditioning day. There's less stoppage. They're on the go.
Okay.
The intensity out of 10 is 10.
Yeah.
On other day, the intensity is out of 10, it's 6 or 7. The physical exertion.
So and even coaching, since you coach a youth team, right? Does the preparation vary from team to team, from age group to age group?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
definitely.
Like how is it different?
Yeah, so below 6 year, sorry, the foundation stage, there's different stages we call.
Yeah. Okay.
Foundation stage is from the age of, let's say, 8 till 12.
Okay.
That's called the foundation stage.
Okay.
Where it's more about basic training, fun,
Okay.
introduction of techniques, a
Okay.
little bit refining and stuff.
Okay.
From 13 till 16 or 17, it's youth.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a youth development stage where you start going more into detail of technique, introduction of tactics. 15 and above, it's more tactics, in detail tactics. Okay, managing the games and those things. And within that, there's core training. From the age of 6, 13, there's a core training involved.
Okay.
Some clubs do it in the below ages also, some core training. But yeah, physical strength, these power and strength comes after 17.
Okay.
Even in 15 we do strength, like I mentioned, core strength or lower body, upper body strength, body weight based trainings. So these kind of trainings. After 17, it's professional stage.
Okay.
Okay. So you talk about 17 till 21. Or some call it performance stage also.
Oh.
Okay.
And what age group do people sort of start figuring out their positions in the team? Is it like from 13 to 17?
No. Some players, I would say, with my experience, at the age of 14, you'll get to see some players. Okay, he could play in that position very good. I have a player who started in left back at the under 14. After a few sessions or games, I realized this guy will retire as under 14. Sorry, as a left back,
Okay.
because
He
the
has
way
a
he,
approaches
and I
them.
always ask him, "Do you want to play different position?" He says, "No, coach, I want to play
Who's his
left back."
favorite left back?
I think Marcelo,
Oh, obviously.
and they have nowadays they're following a lot of different players.
Hmm.
But yeah, usually as a coach, we will not try to pin them to a position.
Hmm.
We avoid that
Hmm.
till the age of 17.
Okay.
We try to give them a sampling.
Flexibility.
Yeah. For example, if center back is there, we occasionally we ask him to play in.
Center forward.
No.
Holding midfield.
Yeah. If they're young, if they're below 13, they keep
Shuffling
around all the
positions of the game.
positions. From 13 and plus, yeah, they will move across the
Defensive
units.
half or the forward.
Yeah, he could be a center holding midfielder or attacking midfielder, then striker, sorry, center back, like this. After 18, it's less, but yeah, when you go to ISL, it depends on the coach, what he sees in you,
Yeah.
and then he could change. You know, like Sunil Chetri was striker, sometimes winger. You know, it keeps changing that.
Yeah. And with advancing technology, you see these master boards and these digital boards, wherein the position, blah, blah, blah. So, how does that sort of, what role is technology playing in coaching and player development currently? Like, a lot of things which probably weren't possible 15, 20 years ago with analysis and stuff. How has sort of technology grown with, how has coaching grown with technology and, player improvement as well?
Yeah, like when you compare our day-to-day lifestyles, technology has a big part to play. In that, it has a big part to play in player development also.
Okay.
Like we record all the training sessions and
Of
games.
individual players as well? Or the whole training session?
Yeah, whole training sessions we film it. For example, if I film a game, for example, when I was in Wales, a coach was using an app called Dartfish,
Okay.
wherein there's no fees as such. You could just do some tagging
Okay.
using that app,
Okay.
clipping the videos,
Okay.
or making some notations on the screen. How many forward pass he made that player? You tick, 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 tick. You
Oh,
get
wow.
while watching the game. You use the app. You get all the data. You get Excel sheet. It
Oh,
shows
wow.
how many forward pass, because you're just watching the game and you're doing your own.
And is it something that you've implemented or are you implementing with your teams as well?
Yeah, we do hand-based. The players
Yeah.
watch the game and then they do hand-based notations. As a coach, I use a lot of tools and software to cut the videos, merge them, or add some other elite game videos within them and show it to the players. You know, and then there's GPS in the senior level. There's a lot of technology there, analytics. You know. AI systems also coming into place now. So technology is a big role, you know. Like analysis has gone a lot level higher compared to last 10 years.
And I think that is something that is definitely helping the younger generations, right?
Yeah.
Right.
In youth also, if I talk about youth, again, even in youth, there's so many technologies you can use now in giving individualized or well-rounded, player development program. You know, there's so many apps also, like Huddle app. A player could use it. You know, as a coach, I do some clipping and make some notes on that, and that clip goes to the player.
Okay.
He can download it on his phone, or just watch it. He can comment on it. Those kind of things also you could do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Talking about player development, I think for Indians, I think specifically when we talk about, a great player or, who's our idol, we usually talk about the Messis or the Ronaldos, right? And let's say when we talk about Indian football, it's a Sunil Chetri, right?
Yeah.
Who has that level of stardom and, the celebrity status, if I may say.
Yeah.
Who do you think, out of the current pool of Indian footballers, would take that level of stardom of Sunil Chetri, or would, we've had these, players of a generation, right, which a Vijayan or Bhaichung Bhutia and then the Sunil Chetri are, right?
Yeah.
Who do you think would, for the next 5 to 10 years, would be that player in the current Indian circle?
It's a difficult question. I think about it sometimes, but when we spoke about ISL just a
Hmm.
few minutes back,
Hmm.
it has given advantage. It also has its disadvantage or a
Okay.
demerit,
Okay.
which is of not Indian players not getting to play as a number nine, or as a
Hmm.
striker, or as a holding midfielder, or as a keeper also in some teams,
Hmm.
or as a center back.
Hmm.
It's all these important positions are
Are
taken
taken
by
up
the foreign
by,
players.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would say I hope, I wish it changes in future.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, it for my personal views, it could be a little bit of a gap.
Okay.
After Sunil Chetri, it might take another 10 years to see another one. Yeah,
Out and out celebrity for Indian
yeah,
football.
out and out, the presence or the aura
That of Sunil Chhetri.
Sunil Chetri has.
Okay, wow. So, talking about, as you were mentioning, it would take another, what, 10 odd years for us to find a Sunil Chhetri. What makes you think that again?
Uh,
Do you not feel that in the current roster there's someone who plays in that pivotal positions? Like for me, whenever I think when I saw Abdul Samad, I thought, wow, man, this is someone who can probably play at a higher level.
yeah.
So, do you have any of that person in anyone else in mind?
Yeah, Sahal Samad and Rahul KP excites
Yeah.
me a lot.
Hmm.
And Zuala Changte of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mumbai City.
Hmm.
Some exciting players are there. I don't definitely deny that. It will be
But
definitely another attacking player only.
hmm,
Like in those, the ones who score
score
goals,
goals,
they get
the
all the
attention.
highlights.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, but just it's my personal opinion. Like all the big sporting institutions or countries or clubs, sometimes they have this period,
Yeah.
where there's a gap, and
Hmm.
then it takes time.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily say 10 years,
Hmm.
but it could be. But there's a lot of exciting talent coming from India now. You know,
Talking about, 5-10 years, where do you see, the never-ending question or the question that pops up again every time the FIFA World Cup comes? But I'll sort of put it in a different way. Where do you see Indian football in the next 15 years?
uh, I would say I've seen the latest, the vision of
The
2000
2047 vision.
2047, and then they have stages before
Hmm,
that
hmm,
also, which looks good.
hmm,
Like I mentioned, it's all about competitions, improving the infrastructure,
hmm,
and you know good quality coach education,
hmm,
and yeah, more exposure to the players, going across the country, people coming across, the culture improving. It comes down to that, I would
hmm,
say.
hmm.
But definitely more Indian players has to get a chance in ISL, I League. Even in I League, if you see, a lot of foreign
Foreign
coaches
players.
are getting the chances. But that that is also justified at some level,
Hmm.
you know. But
Especially where money is involved.
yeah, I mean, because again of the experience,
Hmm.
why they are getting chances, there's a valid reason
Yeah.
also for that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it will take time, I would say.
And especially when it comes to your trait, how do you see coaching evolve in football in India?
Yeah, definitely. If you compare the last 10 to 15 years, it has evolved.
Hmm.
The coach education programs have upgraded.
Hmm.
Coaches are getting chances in ISL to be the assistant also.
Hmm.
In I League to lead.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
many coaches who are
Yeah.
leading in I League.
Yeah.
There's so many coaches in second
Okay.
division
Yeah.
academy, getting chances to coach. And there's so many coaches who are going abroad like me also,
Hmm.
who are going and getting exposure.
Hmm.
Some are coaching also,
Hmm.
in different countries.
Hmm.
So that's good.
Hmm.
That's good. And all these things will add up. Hopefully, there'll be positive changes.
And I sincerely hope, when it comes to coaches, Indians can proudly say, remember a good Indian coach's name, because I highly doubt when I say, who's your favorite Indian coach, I don't think so a lot of people would have that answer.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's all about the chances, and also we as Indian coaches also should deserve that and should be ready for that.
Hmm.
And we also should challenge ourselves, you know. do study which is abroad. One of the culture in UK or US or in Europe is a lot of academic coaches or senior coaches, they travel to different clubs. They do study visit. I did a lot of them when I was
Okay.
there in UK.
Okay.
Going to Cardiff City, Swansea City, a lot of London clubs. I used to write to them, and they were very kind, to let me go there, watch what they are doing. I started that in India itself when I was working for Decathlon, like I
Okay.
mentioned earlier. So that should happen here also. We should never stop upgrading ourselves. I think Alex Ferguson mentions in his book that the day the coach thinks he has learned everything, that's
The end of the coach.
going a down curve. Upgrading the knowledge is very very important. Challenging uh, your ideas, your methodology, exposing yourself to different ideas, taking and be open. All these things will add up, and plus, yeah, a chance also needs to be be given. So gradually, a second division coach could promote his team to the I League. Then going forward, now they have relegation and promotion.
Yeah.
That also adds up. So there is a positive curve. Positive vibes. I would feel. You know. Yeah.
And one of the final questions on coaching per se, what makes a good coach, Jairaj?
Okay. Earlier, when I was uh, preparing my ideas and stuff before entering into the grass, I was thinking of it's all about technique and tactics. Uh, my personal experience and as a person, I realized that when I was in Decathlon, I had sales managers. I was a department manager of a brand called Domios in Decathlon, where I had a local Bangalore boy who was into boxing
Yeah.
as a sales manager. There was an intern from France.
Okay.
There was a Ivory Coast boy
Okay.
who was doing some college, but he was also as an intern in the store. And there was a couple of other guys. I used to handle 4 5 sales managers in the store,
Yeah.
where I used to motivate them to stand in the store, on the weekend, Sunday, Saturday also we used to work. And it's 8 to 9 hours standing work. There it's, I realize it's not just the human connection, being empathetic, showing compassion,
Leadership.
leadership, understanding what, uh, by pressing what button you ignite the light in a person, being kind. Those things I realized, and it's close to my personality, being kind to people, being empathetic.
And I think that is just also being a very nice person in general.
Yeah, so, and when I started coaching with you players, I realized it's not really about technique or tactics. It's about the emotional connection with the players. The players, there's a lot of quotes about that also. One famous one which stayed with me was, for the players, it doesn't matter how much knowledge a coach has. It's about, are you willing to help the player? How much you care about the player? That's what a lot of player look for in a coach. The players want a coach who could bridge the gap between their dreams to their aspirations. Can you bridge that gap? Can you be kind? Can you help them to get them closer to where they are, to their dreams? Okay, a coach needs to have a good knowledge also, but this thing matters a lot, which I realized with my personal experience. You know, Connecting them on a emotional level. Sport, teaching a sport is, yes, it has a place, uh, and pushing the players, giving them feedback where they need, making them play intensively the game, intensely in mental intensity, physical intensity, and also the emotional intensity also you need to maintain. Some player need, some tough love, I would say. Some players you don't need to speak a lot with them. There's in wherever I worked in the clubs, I get different players.
Hmm.
You need to understand. Okay, this player doesn't need a lot of shouting.
Hmm.
He just need encouragement.
Hmm.
One player might need a bit more energy. You need to raise your voice,
Hmm.
not too much, little bit against him.
Hmm.
For another player, you need to take an example of a certain player.
Hmm.
Hey, you told me that you want to become that player. This is the effort you have to put. you know so there's different connections you need to make with the player. So when you get into the with experience, people will realize that it's not just about tactics tactics board, being uh, like you mentioned Guardiola or Mourinho in youth. You need a coach who is really caring about the player.
Beautifully said, Jayaraj. I think I know this resonates to just being a good leader, a good person. I think a lot of that has to also do with being a good coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
On a closing note, Jayaraj, what would be your advice to a budding 13, 14-year-old player who just aspires to be a footballer from a coach's perspective? What would be your advice?
Yeah, I would say first thing, they need to spend a lot of time with the ball.
Hmm.
The ball should be the best toy for them. They
Okay.
shouldn't be too much of sitting on the sofa and playing
FIFA.
PlayStation, FIFA. Uh, it's about the number of touches they get. They should fall in love with the ball,
Hmm.
and the ball will teach them the game.
And I think Ronaldinho beautifully said this famous quote, I learned all about life with the ball at my feet.
Yeah, with the ball at the feet. So I would say, even if it's a COVID, non-COVID, are they playing in a club? Have they been released? Even if they release every day, they can skip a meal, but you can't skip a training session unless you're injured. And if you're injured, okay, you need to rest. Okay, but the players should spend a lot of time with the ball. Why? Because uh, if you see the Argentinian World Cup winning team,
Hmm.
all those players would have started playing in small streets of
Argentina.
Rosario,
Yeah.
within Argentina at the age of 4 or 5 with their brothers.
Hmm.
But at the age of 20, imagine the kind of training they got.
Yeah.
So that early stage is very important in football.
Hmm.
You know, uh, having the number of touches, I would say the player should not focus too much about going to this club, that coach, that coach. They should spend a lot of time playing in streets.
Yeah.
Street football will give everything to the players.
Okay.
Okay, when you compare before coming to the age of 13. Yeah, from 13 there's organized coaching. You will be put into teams, where you have to go and all those things. So before 13 is where the the non-formal education in the streets, playing against bigger players, getting that pressure, avoiding not to fall down on the
Ground.
ground. How we use twist and turn your body, how we use the senses, those kind of things. A lot of Brazilian players, it's all instinct.
Hmm.
It's all street football.
Hmm.
Why? Because they have playing a lot of unorganized football,
Yeah.
where the organization or the street football setup force them to use all their senses,
Yeah.
be more creative. you know those things has to be there. Yeah, for a 13 and 15-year-old, I would say more and more touches of the ball and more games under pressure. Not too much of 11-11 games.
Hmm.
Short games will help, and they should have exposure of both,
Hmm.
but more playing under pressure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautifully said, Jaraj. I think this entire conversation, even though we've met earlier, I've had a lot of conversation with you, but the entire time I was here, I was just excited. I still feel that that butterfly is still in my heart about just knowing things about what happens in the footballing circuit. And thank you so much again, Jiraz. I loved the entire conversation. I hope you had a good time as well. And thank you so much. I loved every bit of the conversation that I had with you. And I hope everyone who watches the video has a great experience, and looks at the struggle that and the sacrifices that people have to make to just do what they love. And I can see from Jayaraj's experience and eyes how much love he has for the sport. And I'm just glad, Jayaraj, you were here for the day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Satvik. I really appreciate people like you, having a different primary job and, uh, using your passion, to make people aware about football and what kind of people are involved in football. We need more people like you, to come up, the culture which I mentioned, to spread that culture of football or the sport, you know we need more people like you, and I'm very glad to spend time tonight, and it was very good.
Thank you.
I enjoyed, and I wish you all the best,
Thank you.
with your podcast. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Jayaraj. Thank you.